I'd like to bring to, are we on? I'd like to bring to order the Monday, April 8th meeting of the Tiverton Town Council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Paul?
Present.
Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor Janik? Present. Councilor DeMedeiros?
Present.
Councilors Edwards, Burke, and Milburn are absent.
Burke is coming at some point. Consent agenda. Approval of the Town Council minutes. March 25th, 2024, regular meeting. Council Milburn abstains absent. March 25th, 2024, executive session. Council Milburn abstains absent. Acknowledge receipts of minutes from boards, commissions, and committees. Zoning Board of Review, 2. Economic Development, 2. Historical Cemeteries, 1. Acknowledge receipts of reports from the Town Administrator, Department's monthly reports, March 2024. Town Administrator, Police and Fire Department overtime reports, March 2024. Acknowledge receipts of correspondence, letters from Jeffrey McNally regarding proposed ordinance that will amend Section 5432, letters from Dennis Zambrano regarding proposed ordinance that will amend Section 5432, letter from Kenny Mendes regarding proposed ordinance restricted fishing. Town of Hopkins, resolution supporting S2 016- relating to towns and cities, low and moderate income housing. Town of Hopkins, resolution opposing HB 7324 related to towns and cities, zoning ordinance. Town of Hopkins, resolutions opposing HB 7382 relating to towns and cities, zoning ordinance. Town of Hopkins, resolution opposing HB 7986 related to property, abandoned property. Town of Hopkins, resolution opposing HB 7951 relating to towns and cities, Rhode Island Comprehensive Planning and Land Use Act. Town of Hopkins, resolution opposing HB 7978 relating to subdivision of land. Town of Hopkins, resolution opposing HB 7958 relating to towns and cities, Multi-Family Housing Act. Town of Hopkinton, resolution pledging to keep Rhode Island litter-free. Town of Burryville, resolution opposing HB 7763, SB 2679, relating to public records, assessed to Public Records Act. Town of Richmond, resolution regarding education funding formula. Town of Richmond, resolution opposing any revival of Old Saybrook to Kenyon bypass. Letter from Denise Ponish regarding council resolution in support of suicide prevention barriers on bridges over Narragansett Bay. Approval of tax assessor abatement, $10,261.47. Any councilors like to take anything from the consent agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just gonna grab one of them. How about D4?
Anyone else?
Yeah. D6, D13, D15.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
So
without
moved.
D4, D6, D13, and 15. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? D4. Councilor Woods.
Yeah, so I just, obviously, Town of Hopkinton's been very busy, as have some other municipalities in the northern end of the
You
state.
think so?
And the question I have actually is as it relates to all of these bills. I'm assuming they're getting some of this information probably from like the League of Cities and Towns. So would it be possible if that's going out for, I'm assuming the administrator's getting this stuff too. No?
No, I don't see it when they come here.
But anything from like the league, where's the league?
League doesn't send me every bill.
No?
I
Okay.
think they're just sending us every bill they do.
Okay,
because I discussed this, that I was.
that would
Right.
benefit or hurt us. And that's it. Thank you.
I'll do them all at once, the approvals. Deb, D6.
Okay, D6 does talk about House Bill 2024 H7382. It amends the definition of a household to change the number of unrelated individuals together from 3 to 1 person per bedroom. So there's general concern that this would make homes more desirable for short-term and seasonal rentals, and I think that we should support this because one of the concerns is that we did see a big decrease in our educational funding this year, and some of that was because of our increase in
Short-term rent.
our housing. And so and I think some of it is because of short-term rentals, and if we increase and make it more desirable for short-term rentals and kind of make it too expensive and people are not able to afford housing in town, it will cause people to not be living in town, and it will cause our educational funding to decrease even further. So I'd like to support 4D6.
Can Deb make a motion to support this tonight?
I think we'd probably have to put in another,
Put it on another?
Yeah.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if I,
Yes.
if I could just comment on this, and I know it's going to come up. I look at the short-term rentals slightly different, I think, than most. A couple of years back, when President DeMedeiros was, I believe, Vice President DeMedeiros, and Patricia Hilton was our president.
That's way back.
Way back when. There was a look at all of the tax rates across the state, and where Tiverton fell was right in the middle, and the reason why we couldn't be at the absolute bottom is because communities like Newport, Little Compton have something that we don't have, and that's a large number of people that own homes that are, seasonal summer homes, basically dark houses in the winter. So, from a, tax base, police, fire, so on and so forth, that's actually beneficial to the town long-term. I understand there's, questions around affordable housing, and there's certainly solutions that are being taken forward there. But it may not be the worst thing in the world if it's going to, encourage more short-term rentals, which aren't going to be putting kids in the schools. So, just my thoughts. Thank you.
It just increases the cost of the homes, so.
Yep.
Town of Richmond, and they're looking at the educational funding formula, and I'd like to propose that we do a resolution to support that also, since the funding formula certainly did not help us.
I'm going to let everyone speak about that in a few minutes.
I know, that's the public hearing. Thank you. Jamie French, Craig Avenue. I'm here about water. In North Tiverton, it shows on the comprehensive community plan that there is no alluvial wetlands or piped water up to 1970. So we have pipes, cement pipes in the ground everywhere that are 55 years old and much older. And they have been breaking. Before they even began breaking, the Robert Gray stormwater drainage system had to be put in to stop houses that were sitting on marshes from having their basements filled up. Those houses are their sump pumps are directly hooked to those water drainages. There is also some sewage that is hooked to it that no one addresses, and the data from 2010 from DEM shows that there is, during dry times, sewage coming out of the Robert Gray discharge, which is why we need sewage, because we don't want to clean up. But anyway, in the meantime, there's been a lot of water coming back, and there's been this continual problem of who knows why the pipes are breaking, but people are beginning to have water. On top of that, artesian water will find its way through. And it looks, my question is, how much artesian water is actually breaking through underneath our roads, washing out the dirt underneath the asphalt, and eventually will be causing sinkholes. And it seems to me that in town we spend a lot of our time, our money, and our resources talking about how we can bring commercial development to North Tiverton, not in South Tiverton, but we never look at the...
Hi, how are you? All right, so, do you want to talk a little bit about,
Yeah, so, the Courtney Rogers Run for Recovery, this will be our 7th event. During COVID, we did one of them, what do we call it? Virtually, yeah. But this will be our 7th run. We started it in, first one was 2018. It's for, we lost our daughter, Kristen's sister, from opioid overdose.
Oops, sorry.
sorry,
And,
The previous one.
time's up. No, I'm kidding.
and dollars over $50,000. And so the last 3 years, it's been 10,000, 16,000 one year, so we have a steadily increase every year, and we've got a good group of runners and walkers that come out for it, usually about 150 people. So it's just a great event. A lot of people look forward to it. Takes us, we moved it, the first year we had started at 9 o'clock. It was hot, and then, so we brought it back to 8 o'clock, which makes it, the hour makes a difference, and it's earlier, and we're in and out of there by 10 o'clock. We're done with the run. We go counterclockwise. We start the parking lot in front of the medical office. We basically set up everything there now, and we start there and we go south on Main Road. It's a great course. You got the water basically half, and then but down by Evelyn's, we make that left and then back along Highland, and then all the way down to Main, and then back again. So it's a 5K run. So it's a great event. People look forward to it, and like I said, it's for a cause. Everyone knows that opioid addiction is a big problem in the country, and we're trying to do our part and keep Courtney. Courtney's doing more on Earth in heaven than she could do on Earth.
Thank you. I looked at the date, and there's nothing else going on, I believe, on that date. And
That's the day we picked, just so it's this Saturday closest to Courtney's
Yeah.
birthday. Courtney's birthday's on the 23rd. So,
And, of course, you'll talk to the police department and get all that
yeah.
settled.
yeah.
Any questions? Yes.
Quick question for you. When does registration open?
Sometime after this.
Okay.
They
I
follow-
feel like rather than complaining about the driving situation every year, I'm just gonna run this thing. Who,
Yeah,
anybody
he'll
else
pick up
in?
his- He'll pick up his coffee and then he'll go running.
Get coffee afterwards.
$10 if you beat him.
You in?
How about 20?
Any other questions? It's great, and we've had no problems with you doing this. Last year, there was a little mix-up because the police didn't, and they admit the route got a little bit, they got a little confused about the route, but that was certainly not your fault, so.
So we have the police on board with the correct route this year? Because I know
Yes.
that was a misunderstanding on their part, not on yours.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a good relationship with everyone, the police,
We've done well.
yeah, yeah. So I just think it's a great event. It's a nice route.
Have turned back so much more money into
Yeah.
programs because it's so needed.
Madam Chair, President, motion to approve, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
I'll second.
Second. Oh,
Motion been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you, good luck. Give us the motion.
And Ted Bisco, I don't know if I said your name right, I'm sorry. Special event permit for Tiverton Four Corners, 4th of July Antique Show, July 4th, 2024, from 9 to 4. Where is this at Tiverton Four? Oh, at the meeting house. Okay,
We asked you to come back because you had
The
to find out
parking,
about parking.
correct.
Yes.
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 So I spoke to Jim Holland. He's agreed to let me use his
Perfect.
field at 3949 Main Road. I also spoke to Chief Jones at the last meeting, and I spoke to him today. He has no objections of providing a detail, and he has tons of suggestions that I'm going to go
I'm
with.
sure he does,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so,
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the special event permit for Tiverton Four Corners 4th of July Antique Show, July 4, from 9 to 4 p.m., subject to meeting all the legal requirements.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing, discussion, and vote. I'd like to start off by saying there was a group of us that volunteered to work on these three amendments to the Code of Ordinance. And this was all brought up because of problems that we had last year at Grinnell's Beach. I was there, Attorney Musk, not this attorney, the other attorney was there, the chief of police and the recreation committee, and Councilor Paul was also present. This is a template. We never meant for this to be written in stone, but it's a place where we had to stop and go from there. I will have to say, I've heard a lot on social media, we did not change the fishing area at all. The DEM grant, which I was part of, has the fishing area where it is now, and they approved that fishing area. As long as we have a fishing, they require us to have a fishing area, so we gave them on the map. The abutment was a federal grant, and the town owns that abutment. During those discussions, there was no requirement to have fishing there. They did say if we did have fishing there, that we shouldn't have fishing on the north end, and where the rocks where the drainage is. And I haven't been there in a while, I'm not sure where that is. We never talked about fishing there. We didn't say we wanted to fishing there at the time. There has been fishing there, which only has become a problem recently because it's taken up the whole abutment. And I'll be honest, I don't think it's the fishermen in front of me. All right, I'll be very honest. The few times that I've been called down there, it was families, the kids were running everywhere. I actually caught a child by the shirt who almost fell in because the gate was open. The parents are unsupervising these children. And I don't recognize any of you, and I've been there 4 to 5 times. That was a problem. And residents were calling me saying they tried to walk down there before sunset, and they couldn't even get down there. There were people everywhere. One almost got hit by a hook. And so that's when I brought it to the council, and they said, well, let's try to work this out where everyone can enjoy it. The fishermen can, and the residents can, and the people who want to be on the beach can. And if we all try to compromise and get along, I think this will all work out. The police chief did have some problems with, you can tell them they can't, like they're fishing in the bathing area, but there's no fines or there's nothing you can do, just you can't fish there, and then they go back the next night. So he asked us to put some fines on this. If you're not in the restricted areas, you'll be fined. And that's the same thing with the parking, right, Chris?
You'll be okay. You said fine.
Oh, yeah. No, you won't be fined if you're there fishing the right way. And the same thing with the parking. We've been having problems with the parking. And the police can't enforce, the police can tell you not to do it, but they need some kind of enforcement. And he's the one that asked that we put some regulations on this. He's not here tonight. He's not feeling well, so he's home. I don't intend on having a vote tonight. Just discussion, hearing from all of you. Continue it to next week. Take your suggestions.
Next meeting.
Next meeting and tweak it. And but this was just a baseline to start off because it was a problem the summer before, and we never really did anything about it. All right?
Madam President, can I piggyback off that?
Sure.
Full disclosure, I am one of the people last summer before the council. I go down there frequently with my daughter at night, spring, summer, even into the fall. And last summer seems to be the most popular time of year, or the most popular year so far for that abutment. This is really a three-legged issue. One of them being the parking. On several of those nights, again, at the time, just being a layperson, hearing friends to complain about not being able to go down there and park at night. I started going down more frequently, and 37 of the 40 cars in the lot have Massachusetts plates. So one of the issues here that we have is parking. The other issue is enforcement. I've talked to some of you guys outside of here, and we all agree that DEM doesn't really realize Tiverton exists, so they don't come down here. Tiverton police are not trained to handle DEM stuff, so they'll handle what they can as far as enforcement, but they don't handle that type of stuff. And the other one being, as Madam President said, was the safety in the kids. It's not necessarily a CSO's, the community safety officer's, responsibility to chase kids around and find parents and say, hey, is this your kid? But it's getting crazy down there. I agree that this seems a little heavy-handed, but that's why these are public hearings, and I've heard some great suggestions already from some of you, and I think we can definitely work off of more public comment tonight. Nobody wants to restrict fishing. I fish down there. I don't want to restrict fishing. I don't think anybody up here wants to restrict fishing. And I was talking to, I'll just say it, Cody last night. Yeah, the state of Rhode Island's got a lot of stuff going on with the shoreline and restriction and access, and it's crazy. It's the ocean state. So I don't think we should be restricting. I just think we should work together and come up with some type of solution.
I think there has to be, the fisherman has to be respectful of the people that just want to walk and hang on the beach, and vice versa. And that wasn't happening last summer. We're also working on that gate that goes to the dinghy dock, because that's where there were actually fishermen on the other side of that little ledge, fishing. And this child was running to her father. And she went running by me, tripped, and I grabbed her. She would have went right in the water. So we're also working on a way to close that gate. That dinghy dock, people rent it. So we're thinking of like a card system where if you want to come over, you have the card for the season. And that's the only way you can get in and out of there, because people are actually fishing on that little small ledge, and children are running up and down that ledge. And I'll be honest, and David will admit it, he called me one night when he wasn't on the council and said, you got to see what's going on. And it was dangerous, and we're liable if a child falls in. And so that's how this started. It was never meant to be exactly this, but it was a way to start, because we had to start somewhere. All right, so, yeah.
We have a beautiful beach, we have beautiful beaches, and we want to keep them beautiful, and we want them beautiful for all of you and for everybody else too. And not everyone respects our beaches. And there was a lot of trash being left there. There was a lot of like beer cans and cigarette butts and food wrappers and
Dead fish
dead
that are
fish.
rotting.
And nobody wants to walk in and bring their family there and see that. So we just want to make it so that people are respectful of our beaches. And I know Councilman Paul said that there are a lot of out-of-state plates. We can't restrict out-of-state people at our beach because we did have a grant to upgrade that beach.
No. We can, Rhode Island people, we can't
restrict
Rhode Island, but we can have a certain time where Massachusetts doesn't have it. The same way Little Compton does it. At certain
it's a certain
point,
time.
it's Rhode
Yeah, it's a
Island.
certain
It's because of the grant, Rhode Island residents, if we charge them, we have to charge ourselves. And if we restrict Tiverton people, we have to restrict Rhode Island, because it was the Rhode Island DEM grant. But as far as the Massachusetts, there was no restriction on that. For like certain hours, only Rhode Island residents are allowed in there. There's no restriction on that.
Okay, then we need to look at, because.
Yeah, we need to
that's-
look at that. In the morning, the maintenance people have quite the challenge sometimes. Like I went down there one day and there was 2 cases of empty beers that they were picking up. And fires that were lit in the middle of the night down in the fishing area, which is not allowed. But there's a lot going on, and it's not the people that are obeying and doing the right thing. That's not who we're after. And we just want people to be considerate of everyone else that wants to enjoy that beach also. There was a lot of people that worked very hard to get those grants. And last summer really disappointed me to what was going on there. So,
Just two more points and then
yeah,
the public.
then I'll open it up.
I just wanted to touch on, because we talked about the Massachusetts place, and I myself said 37 of 40. I'll tell you right now, I've talked to a lot of people down there, met some really cool people. One of them was a woman from West Roxbury. Apparently, that's the place to go for scup. There are some wonderful people down there. So when I say 37 of the 40 plates were Mass, I'm not trying to say anything other than, that's what's clogging the beach. The people themselves, I've met some phenomenal people down there. But that is a way we can curb some of the overcrowding. When we talk about access to shoreline, it's not just for fishermen. It's for our residents to be able to park there also, and they can't even park there. And the only other thing is, it's going to probably be mentioned tonight, somebody had a great idea as far as a parking pass for fishermen, which could probably apply to at least Foglands. So, but that's something to add to that.
Oh, and that's another thing I wanted to say. The Fogland parking, we did not change either. The only thing we did change was in the ordinance. It brought up, what did it bring?
It went from Peckham Farm to the actual
Yeah,
road.
so it brought up Peckham Farm. Well, only as people that have been here forever knows where Peckham Farm is. So we changed that address. But that's the only thing we changed at Fogland as far as the parking was concerned. That was always there in the ordinance, I believe. That was one of the only things we changed.
always been-
It's really Grinnell's Beach that has become the problem. All right, I'll open it up to public comment. The public hearing is now open. The first one is Justin. Justin, just state your address.
Absolutely. Justin Royas, 886 Crandall Road. I'm a town resident, been here my whole life. Got my degree in environmental conservation at University of New Hampshire. Love recreation, love environmental, love clean beaches. I've been going to Fogland specifically for fishing for probably 15 years. I'm 38 now. And in 10 years, I'd say even 8 years ago, you started to see, in my opinion, a lot more people going to that beach. Just as you're saying, a lot of Massachusetts residents kind of punishes the Tiverton resident a little bit, in my opinion, not be able to go into your own backyard on any given day. With that being said, I just heard this last night, literally, about these things. I was like, I got to see what's going on with this. Because me personally, last month, I've been putting my leaders together. I want to get my kayak out there. I want to go night fishing at Fogland. I don't want anybody to stop me. I want to be able to park my truck on Fogland. I want to be able to take my kayak out and go night fishing when the fish are there and when it's not hot. I don't want to be sweating. On another level, though, during the daytime, understand everybody has to share the beach. Great scup fishing there during the daytime. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but in this economy, I want some local fresh protein that I can get myself in my kayak. So yeah, this is really concerning to me personally, as a Tiverton resident that's been fishing this my whole life. I'm not ignorant to the facts of the issues we have there. I mean, anybody that uses that can see that there's issues there. I think it's unfair to target fishermen, because let's be real, there's a lot of beachgoers drinking beers and going there and having
Well-
campfires at night that have nothing to do with
Well,
fishermen.
we're also going to restrict all of
I
that too.
But this is just what I saw, was the fishermen. This just seems like targeting fishermen, which I get it. It's what it seems like to me a little bit. Fishermen, you can't go here, you can't do this, okay. I mean, then the other thing too, I think, was just the idea of the high tide line. That I know we've already talked about that. It's a big thing in Rhode Island, the high tide line rates that we have. But it opens up a can of worms. So you start regulating this, and then where does it end if you start regulating it here? I do think I did actually talk to John earlier. I think Satchewitz Point they do it, I want to say, where if you want to go fishing overnight, you can get a permit or a temporary pass or maybe something like that, and you can get an overnight parking permit. Hey, my truck's here, I got my thing in the windshield, and I'm fishing, just leave me alone, that kind of thing. One thing I caught my attention was when you said the north side of Fogland not being able to fish. That's like the rocky side.
North side of Grinnell's on the abutment.
Oh, Grinnell's. Okay, I thought you said Fogland. Okay.
Because I thought there was a place where they don't want us to be.
Okay.
And it was the north side.
Because the north side of Fogland's a great fishing spot for rocks.
No,
All
this
right,
is
awesome,
Grinnell's.
awesome.
This
All
is
right, so I
Grinnell's.
misunderstood that.
No, I probably didn't explain it
Yeah.
well.
So yeah, I mean, those are just my main concerns. This is one quick solution as far as the overnight thing. And this is what I'm thinking about Fogland. This goes to every other places too, but me specifically, Fogland's what really hits home for me. And that was just one solution I thought, like the overnight pass thing. But again, doing that, though, you're not going to get rid of the teenagers going there drinking their beer cans. Let's be.
Well, we will, because we're gonna have more patrols
More
down
patrol,
there.
exactly, it's an
So
enforcement.
if you're a fisherman and have an overnight fishing,
Yep.
they'll just ignore your car.
Yeah, yeah.
But the other cars, they won't. And we
And
talked
maybe
about
on another
this.
level too, instead of it being like a nightly thing, maybe have like a weekly pass, because as an avid fisherman, I have to go get a freaking pass every single
Well,
time.
it could be
Excuse
a-
my language.
Well, I'm thinking seasonal. but
Seasonal
I'm
too,
even-
yeah, yeah.
I'm even thinking that this would be for Rhode Island residents only.
Yeah, that's a
But
big
we have
thing.
to talk about that. I'm not sure I can legally do that. I'm not sure. I know. But Little Compton does, so we gotta look at why they can't.
Yeah, Little Compton, they allow, what do they do? They allow everybody there while the beach is open.
Everybody has to
and then
leave at
once-
4 if you
Exactly.
don't live in Little Compton.
And on another level too, honestly, let's say where the lifeguards are, where we have the beach, where we have little kids swimming, we don't need fishermen in that little, 300-foot area. We can get rid
You
of.
talking Fogland?
Fogland, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, there's that little area, you know what I mean? Like,
I
when
know
you
what you
start
mean.
going to the other side, that's where I think fishing. Anybody who's fishing on the other side isn't really a responsible fisherman at that point, in my
I'm thinking
opinion.
fishing on that side is probably better,
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
but I don't know anything about fishing.
But, yeah, so that's my thoughts and concerns.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, guys.
Rich Hidden Digger, am I good? Close?
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay.
Rich Hittinger, yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Although I'm not a Tiverton resident, I am the first vice president of Rhode Island Saltwater Anglers, and I represent 25 of our members who are Tiverton residents and 100 of our affiliate members who are Tiverton residents. So we do have a lot of people who fish this area and who live here. What I wanted to say is, I hope you reconsider these ordinances, because restricting fishing and restricting parking in both Fogland and Stone Bridge, especially at night, is going to be a restriction that prohibits many people from accessing something that they enjoy and something that they use as protein. As the previous gentleman said, this is something that people have done for decades in both locations. And I urge you to reconsider. Some people don't understand that nighttime fishing might be fishing for the entire evening. Some people will go down there and they'll fish right until dawn.
I know.
And so, be very careful about the parking restrictions and the hours for that.
Grinnell's Beach has always locked the gates at 10 o'clock. So that's nothing new either. We closed the gates at Grinnell's at 10.
Okay.
So parking, like that didn't change in this ordinance either.
Rhode Island Saltwater Anglers, we've been very active in this area. And in fact, we have at least one organized outing every year in the Fogland area. And we've been on the Tiverton shore doing beach cleanups with Rhode Island DEM. We've got a lot of interest in this area. So, if you can communicate with us about what the problem is that you're trying to solve, we'd be glad to, possibly give our input. Things like a pass for vehicles, that's something to consider, a seasonal pass, or even enforcing carry-in, carry-out bags for all your trash. Everybody should be doing that, and we've adopted many access points around the state, Rhode Island Saltwater Anglers have, and what we do is we go to those access points and try and make people understand that they need to be carrying out all their trash. They need to be good neighbors. So whatever we can do, we're happy to do, but we really would like to see as much access as possible.
I think you just mentioned something that I was going to bring up. If you're out there fishing and you see people throwing trash and doing please help us and say, wait a minute, you shouldn't be doing that. I mean, I don't want you to beat them up or cause any kind of problems, but maybe if other people could help too and say, look, this is our beach, and you're coming here and you're throwing your beer cans out in the water, please don't do that, or, Mike?
Thank you. Mr. Hittinger?
Yes.
I assume that your group is involved with some of the state beaches in terms of saltwater fishing regulations and the like?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm looking at Roger Wheeler. What type of involvement, so they're similar to most of the other state beaches where saltwater fishing is off hours only.
Okay.
And they do restrict their parking to 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Gates close at sunset. So how does that work for your members?
So what we have to do is park outside of that area and walk in.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And the arrangements for saltwater fishing, were you involved with that, with them at all?
Not personally,
Yeah, I mean, your
but our
organization.
organization was, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. I can leave my
Sure,
card
you can
with
give it
with the clerk.
Were you on the chamber board? Newport
Yes.
Chamber? Okay, that's where I know you from.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just give it to Joan and she can.
President DeMedeiros, can you specify the area at Fogland that is in question? Because I know a lot of these people in this group probably are not familiar with the area that is
Alright.
the issue.
Are you on here, you're
No, I'm
Cody,
not
aren't you?
speaking.
Okay.
I know a lot of people probably think it's all of Fogland, and after talking with Councilman Paul here,
Yeah,
it's not the whole Fogland
Oh, no,
beach
it's
that-
not.
It's the boat ramp at the end of Fogland Road there. That's the issue
Well, it's-
in play.
Right, so if you know where the bathrooms are.
Yes.
In front of that is the bathing area.
Yes.
Over to the right, you can fish,
You can fish that whole side.
you can fish that whole side, and then to the left,
The complaints we get are from the boat ramp residents.
yeah,
that
the
area.
boat ramp residents where they're, but also, the residents to the right, where that road goes down there,
Soon to be an island.
yeah, those two houses, what?
There's soon to be an island.
Yeah, the ones that are gonna float away. They've complained a little bit too, because, well, I'll be telling you, people have gone into their property and peed there. And like hid behind the bushes so no one can see them. So there's been some complaints, although that's getting better right now. But you can fish that whole other area. We're not restricting that. We're not restricting anything that you normally could do. It's just the problem is, some people are ruining it for the rest of you. And that's what we're trying to figure out what to do about this.
Bad apples in every crowd.
I'm gonna let someone else speak, is that all right? And then,
Yeah, I just have a quick comment, but,
You wanna do it before I?
yeah, if you don't mind.
Name the next person?
Just because I looked, because we're talking about like areas for fishing and that kind of thing, and so I think it would be helpful. Recreation has a phenomenal looking website, much better than the town of Tiverton's, and there's a section for beaches, and there's no information whatsoever on there, so perhaps we could
Yeah, we
get an actual map and then have that posted so that people can go very quickly and say, okay, on Fogland, like, here are all the areas where you can fish. At Grinnell's, here's where, the areas to fish are, because otherwise it's kind of ambiguous.
There is a map, I think, in the building official's office, because I looked to see the Grinnell's one, just to make sure I knew what was going on there.
Excuse me, I didn't sign to speak, but I feel like the answer to your problem is more patrol.
I'm gonna let you speak. Let me do the ones on the list, and then anyone, yes, and yes. Scott Travers.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Scott Travers. I'm the Executive Director for the Rhode Island Saltwater Anglers Association. Rich, Mr. Hittinger has already spoken about the Saltwater Anglers Association and the members who live in the community here. We would be opposed to this. All three areas, Fogland, Grinnell's Beach, and Stonebridge, are historically significant fishing areas. I'm sorry,
Well, it's the abutment, yeah.
It's the abutment to
You
it,
can call
yeah, gotcha. But also, increasing length in time prohibiting parking is going to further restrict access for even other residents of Tiverton who don't happen to live in the immediate area. So that's going to be a restriction on everyone. Personally, I retired from the town of Portsmouth after having worked there for 20 years, and I can tell you that their town ordinance, especially in terms of McCory's Beach and Island Park, we always allowed for people to be fishing after hours there, and if they were parked there for the purpose of fishing after hours, we would patrol there, we would, speak with people there, determine why they were there, and again, if they were fishing at night, that's fine, off we would go. So my question is, are you looking, and it sounds like you are, to have some mechanism in place in your ordinance to allow for people to be fishing after hours?
People can fish after hours, but at Grinnell's Beach, we close the gates at
Right,
10.
understood, yeah.
They can fish after hours.
Yeah.
That's not a restriction.
Right.
It's just for parking.
Yeah, that's right, that's the
But-
question, is the parking.
But that's nothing different. That's what we've been doing all along. We close that gate.
Right.
There have been suggestions of overnight parking with the pass for fishermen. For Fogland, and we'll have to talk about this.
Yeah.
But that's what this is about, to get your ideas and come back with something new. And I just wanted to do this early because it's gonna happen soon.
Right.
No, the parking issue, I know it's important to all of you, but especially at Fogland, it's not just about the fishing. In fact, that's probably the
least of our
lesser
problems.
issue. It's other people going down, building bonfires, doing the things that the
Burning
council
tables.
president said, burning
Right.
our picnic tables.
Like, we had brand new
and really
picnic tables there, they burnt.
wreaking a little bit of havoc for the people who live down there.
Yep.
So just know that that's not aimed at fishing. It's aimed at trying to control a bigger issue.
Right, gotcha, understood. And lastly, I'd just like to say that, again, Rich, myself, and I'm sure all the other anglers here, we come from a group of anglers who are responsible and knowledgeable, people. I can't speak on behalf of all anglers, much like you all would not want to speak on behalf of all politicians. So, we're all human, I'm just saying. But there are also, we already have things in effect for littering, for child welfare, for all kinds of things like that. There's plenty of legislation in place for those things. Also, just so you know, South Kingston also regulates their beach parking. So that's just another community as a resource if you want to reach out to find out about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think the fines and fees are gonna help too, because they're the same people going down there doing the same stuff. But the police can tell them to leave, next night there's no repercussion. So that's why the police chief said that would help too. If these same people are doing the same things, they're gonna get fines, and then they're gonna be
Gotcha.
told they can't be there
Yep,
anymore.
gotcha. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Who's my next? Thomas Cody? Hi.
Hello, I'm speaking on the same exact subject.
okay.
My name's Thomas Cody. I live on 48 Island View Drive in Tiverton. I moved to Tiverton relatively recently, but I've been fishing down here for quite a while. I grew up in Connecticut, and in Connecticut, it is incredibly difficult to access the shoreline, especially at night. That was one of the things I loved about Rhode Island, but I'll never go back to Connecticut. And one of the things that always has made Rhode Island special for anglers. I think everyone here can speak to that. I, like some of the others, wanted to make sure we clarified that Fogland is one of the specific areas I wanted to talk about, and making sure that there was a compromise in place that would allow nighttime parking. Personally, I'm a rule follower, and if it's something that's like, oh, no one will bother you, it's on the books that you can't park there from 7, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna go, because if I get the ticket, I just have bad luck. In that sense. So I would really like to see a compromise where it is at Satchwist, and it is a year from the purchase date. I'm sure there can be something different, but it's almost positive it's $25. I purchased it, because I am a rule follower. But, so you purchase the permit, and put it in your windshield, displayed, and they can come around and make sure that they know who's parking there at what time. I just would like to see that compromise and find a way where anglers can access Fogland, the ones who cherish it, like myself. I have kids I bring there to go fishing. The north side, I know people talk about, we've already had this discussion.
Of Grinnell's Beach?
Of
not-
Falkland.
Oh, okay.
The Cove.
All right.
Would be one area that we want to make sure stays open to access
Yeah,
for
we're
fishing.
not looking at changing.
Yeah.
Yep, it wasn't clear in the
No.
ordinance previously, so I just wanted to make sure.
This isn't as drastic as it seems. I know everybody looked at it and said, oh my God, but it's not as drastic. It really wasn't meant to be as drastic as it seems to all of you.
it was especially the parking at night that concerned me at Fogland in particular, and making sure that there was a way that people who can use it
Yeah.
responsibly, if it's a missed revenue opportunity, even if it's a nominal fee for a overnight parking pass.
It
is
really
a-
has nothing to do with revenue. It has to do with what happens at night down at Fogland.
And it's a good way to keep
we're-
track
We're
of-
aware where it's not all the fishermen.
Right.
We're aware of that.
Yeah, so if you're able to do it with a resident, with a sticker, or it just, honestly, the National Wildlife Service, it is just something you print out online and you stick in your.
You stick it in your.
Windshield, so.
Right.
But thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
Thank you for the suggestion. TJ Harris?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the chance to speak. My name is TJ Harris. I'm actually a Middletown, Rhode Island resident, but I'm also the president of the Aquidneck Island Striper Team. We have several members that live in Tiverton. A few are here tonight, actually, and a large majority of the club actually come and fish in the areas where we're talking about tonight. I like the idea. That was one of the first things I was going to talk about, is a parking pass, similar to what we do down in Satchewest. I think that there's going to be a lot of collateral damage if we close areas in regards to fishermen fishing other areas that are already fairly crowded, like behind Riverside Bait and Tackle, and places that are already really suffering. And it's just, I mean, not that we want to spread out the bad stuff, but, it would make it less congested in a lot of spots that are already pretty beaten over pretty hard. So, also one of the collateral damages, genuinely good stewards of nature are going to be affected by this. Guys that go down there that are, like myself, when they see a piece of trash on the beach, you just pick it up. I understand everything is a compromise. We'd be open to closed areas that should obviously not even have to be assigned for it, but during the daytime, closing the area of the swim area and stuff like that at Grinnell's. But I think keeping the abutment open and the actual walkway itself, it's already a bit of a challenge because there is no parking. But I think that if we close that area to fishing, a lot of other areas, local areas would suffer, along with anglers. So.
Thank you. What I'm leaning towards is, and it's one of the suggestions, is after a certain hour, you can fish on the abutment.
Okay.
But like up until, say, 7, 8 o'clock at night, you can't. Sunset, that's what me and Dave were talking about. Or fishing only allowed on the very end, but something like that. But I still think that the residents deserve to be able to walk there at 6, 7 o'clock at night without the commotion that's happening right now.
Oh, I agree. I think that a pass could really solve a lot about it, because I don't think those parties that, I don't think they're the ones that are going to go to town hall and see you and get a pass to go and
It's
park.
quite something. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, if you've ever
Yes.
been down there once.
Yeah, I have. I
Okay.
take my kids down there, and it gets
can
pretty
be-
wild. I won't, argue with you. I've been shore fishing for 40 years of my life, and it's all over the place. I fished from Key West to Maine, so it's everywhere, and you're going to punish the good ones as well as the bad apples. And I think that enforcement can help. Other options, like a pass to get you on, to get you access, and if you don't have your pass, then you can't go. And then maybe one day that'll open up the parking to night fishing at Grinnell's if you have a pass like Satchewest, which could, open up some doors to a lot of other people. So.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So help me, I only grew up freshwater fishing because I was from Pennsylvania, so I'm not a saltwater fisher. What's the draw of fishing from the abutment, other than if I'm handicapped? And that's the best place, the only place I might be able to do it.
Well, there's a lot of older people that like to fish in there, and people are handicapped, and it really just gives access, younger families too. I mean, I have a 12-year-old, and he could probably do okay on the rocks, but I know that if we're going to go throw a couple lines out, I'm going to keep him in the safe area on terra firma. So those rocks can be pretty shifty, slippery, and you know, I'm just, I don't want that over my head. My son rolled his ankle because.
But some of the fishing area at Grinnell's is not rocky. It's the sand in front of the parking lot.
Yes,
all in
ma'am.
there.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And that's
I
another
just want to
spot,
make
too.
sure I know.
Yes, yeah, that's a
All right.
good spot at night. Some guys will fish there. In the fall, fall salbor come in. It's a species of fish, just like a mini tuna, pretty much. And guys really, they come in that cove. It's pretty neat. The bait gets trapped in there, and I've seen a lot of people really like to go in there and chase a false albacore off the beach. Now, this is in October, so there's no one really on the beach
Oh, yeah.
to serve a problem, and it's in late fall. But, you know, on a Saturday, if someone is trying to fish off the beach, obviously, you know, you should not be such a knucklehead and that person needs to get out of there, so.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam Raposa.
Good evening.
Hi.
Adam Raposa, Carpenter Street. So the parking pass, you know, I really didn't know what I was going to talk about when I come up here. Kind of glad I got to hear everybody else talk. I don't know that that's a great idea. I think that it would be really simple to get yourself a pass, and then it's like a golden ticket to do whatever you want. I think there needs to be more access at Grinnell's. I don't think the gate should be closed. I think the police need to do a better job with enforcement. The police, the details that you guys have, the seasonal police, they need to do. It's more the enforcement issue, I think. And actually, I want to go over to Stonebridge, that area. I'm sorry, Nanaquacket Bridge.
Yeah,
Is that on?
this isn't part of this
Oh,
at
okay.
all.
So we're just on A.
It's a CRMC access point.
So
Nanaquacket isn't
what did you
any
guys
of
have on
this.
here? Didn't you have something for?
No, Nanaquacket.
Stonebridge-
DEM has total
Stonebridge
control
Walkway.
over that bridge.
Oh, all right. Okay. I'm sorry.
Right? Does it say something about Nanaquacket?
No, it doesn't. I misread the Stonebridge Walkway area.
Oh, okay.
I misread
Yeah,
the Stone-
because there's been issues in Nanaquacket, but the DEM,
And the non-residents. Yeah, I think we should eliminate mass residents from coming in on off hours.
I'm glad you qualified that.
I think that we should do
I
what
know.
Little Compton has installed and keep
Wow.
keep mass residents off of our beach. I mean, Tiverton needs something for them, and we don't have anything. We don't have Grinnell's. That's a state beach now, basically. That's not a town beach. That's a state beach.
Well,
We
we
don't
have
have anything that is
yeah.
just for us.
and I agree, I
without-
have no problem with that. I have no problem saying.
Without the
that-
fishermen who are looking at restrictions, paying for that abutment, and paying for the work that was done at Grinnell's, then we take a beating. We can't fish there now, even though our fishing license is paid to have that work done. You know, and our hunting license is paid to have that work done.
Well, I
Fogland
do,
Beach?
I have to tell you, the residents feel the same way, like we can't walk on this abutment, and our taxes are paying for it too. So if there's some kind of happy medium, and I don't think it's you guys.
And Denise,
I'm gonna be
I have
honest.
to say, I go down there 3 or 4 times a week. I'm down
Yeah.
there all the time. I catch a sunset with my girlfriend. I go down there with my daughter when she's in town. I ride my bike down there. Yeah, there's kids running around. There's people fishing, but it's nothing that I've ever said, you know, I feel unsafe.
Yeah.
Or, you know, this is ridiculous. Like, people are just having fun.
I don't
Okay,
think
there's some litter bugs. There's, you know, some fishermen or people who might just leave a little bit of trash on the abutment, some bait, you know, a little bit of fishing line. But I think that we can fix that without restriction. Or, you know, I mean, you talked about a little girl who almost fell. You know, poor kid, that's her father's problem.
Right, I know, but because that gate was open, we would have
Right.
been responsible for that, because we
Okay.
should have, you know what I mean?
But that's the gate. That's not the entire length of that abutment. If some
They
kid's
were
running along
fishing.
that and falls in.
They were
or-
fishing in that edge, Adam.
Right, well, that's a
They shouldn't
tremendous
even
scup
have been
area.
there. Oh,
The inside of Grinnell's.
Also the Albee areas.
Right.
okay.
I mean, I have one idea for, this might be a money grab, this might be a way to keep, I don't know, keep an eye on people at the beach. But why don't we start some type of fire ring rental system at Grinnell's? Where you come in the morning and you grab a fire ring from the guard, and maybe you pay $40 for that, and then you have to be out at midnight. You leave your fire ring behind, the guards come in the morning, they pick them up. But, you know, it's maybe a way for at least people from out of state to enjoy Fogland for a fee, and which would be like a substantial fee. And also, it's a way for you to keep an eye on people who might want to go and, you know, have a good time. And, you know, the police go down at 12 o'clock and shove everybody out, which is really what they used to do in Little Compton until they,
Until
put the
they
gate up.
really-
And then,
They really
They
restrict
don't
it.
stay that late. They close it down at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
right. Well, I mean, growing up, it was a little different. It's much different now than it was.
Little Compton, actually, if you're on the beach
Yeah.
at 4 p.m.,
Yeah.
they kick everyone
kick
out
everybody
but
out.
Little Compton residents.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
if you have a season pass, they don't. If you have a season pass, they don't.
Yeah, which is $300. Pretty close. Right.
well.
Well, and this is kind of
that's
the
not
point
what it
I'm getting
says
to
on the
with
sign.
Fogland.
Season
Alright.
pass holders, they don't do that.
Okay.
If you have a stack of fire rings, and you sell them for $50 a day, first come, first served basis, and you get to stay there for the day for $50 if you're a non-resident. I mean, residents can pay a less fee for a fire ring, but it's a way to get some money from, from out of state, and also keep an eye on non-residents who might be there to tear it up. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And, no, you're coming now, Jamie, come on. I let you talk before. I think come on, Jimmy. I wasn't sure if you had more to say.
Oh, no, I wanted to talk at the public hearing.
Okay,
It's just if I was here, I might as well talk about public comment, too.
okay. Yes, I'm gonna let you, I just want to finish my list. I tend to forget to finish my list. Yeah, I'm gonna have you come on.
Jamie French, Craig Avenue. I go down to the abutment of Stone Bridge quite often, and it's usually in the evenings in the summertime and in the daytime in the winter. I have never seen fishermen fish anywhere other than where they should be fishing. I have never seen fishermen leave any crap anywhere. I've never seen any hooks. I've never seen any line. Once a fisherman did leave his catch. I'm sure that was a mistake. Other than that, I have never seen anything other than sometimes people are laughing and having fun. It seems like a good thing. For me, having mobility issues, walking the bridge is much easier than walking the sand. When I get there at night, if I get there at 9:30 at night, and there's people in the parking lot having fun, but they're not fishing, they're doing their thing. But I know I can go out on the bridge and walk out there because I know there's fishermen out there. And because I know there's fishermen out there, it's a safe place to be. And you can walk out there, and you know every night there's going to be fishermen out there because of where they park, and because it's nighttime in the summer. And I don't care where people are from, if they're from Fall River or Massachusetts or Rhode Island. If you were to restrict it to only Rhode Island people, sometimes there wouldn't be anyone out there. And I mean, they let us go to Market Basket. I don't know why we can't let them come into Rhode Island. It's also, I think that a pass is a ridiculous concept, because if you're going to have the police coming down and checking passes, why don't the police just come down and take care of people who are being mischievous? If they come down and see people having a fire when they're not supposed to be or doing damage, that would be so much more productive than them walking around looking to see if someone has a parking pass in their window. And there's safety in numbers. I mean, if the more people who use these areas and recreate, the less chance that there's going to be a problem. If there's a lot of fishermen out fishing, it's less likely you're going to be damaging the picnic tables because they may call the police on you. And so
That's not what's happening, Jamie. That's not what's happening.
I'm not sure what you're responding to. I'm just
Well, I'm
saying that when it's the beach patrol last year, were there all the time. If there was all of this hooliganism going on with the fishermen, you would have thought that the beach patrol, who were paid to be watching them, would have done something. And it just, to me, you've made it even more difficult for fishermen because you've restricted the parking outside of Grinnell's.
It's always been like that, though. That's not new. It's always been like that.
It just seems that there should be, if you're going to let people should be able to fish at night, and there should be a designated place that people can park legally so that they can park, because the neighborhood has restrictions, Main Road has restrictions, everywhere has restrictions in that area, and it shouldn't be just for the local people. People should be able to. If it's 10 o'clock at night and I want to watch a meteorite shower, why am I getting thrown out? Thank
Time's
you.
up. You're welcome. Do you want to speak?
No, I'm good. Like I said, I just had a couple of things to interject.
Well, as far as the police enforcement, this is part of why we're putting fines on some of this, because the police would go down there, talk to people, leave, come back, and they're still there.
What will the fines pertain to, though?
It would be,
Fines pertain to anything to do with fishing? I don't want you fishing there.
Well,
You're here and you shouldn't.
no, if you were not in,
It's a-
if you were not in the designated areas, then there's fines. So if you're fishing over where the swimmers should be, and at this point, it's on the abutment too, but we might change that.
So what happens in my mind here, though, is that that rule has that's a large area. So out of swimming time,
you come up
I'm
to the
in
mic?
the swimming area. 'Cause
Come up to the mic.
Yeah, just come on.
Out of swimming area, I find a boil of fish happening at night in the swimming area. Nobody's swimming. I want to cast on it. Cop comes down, I'm in trouble now.
Yeah, and one of the reasons for that is, and Chris can talk on it, people are going there swimming and there's hooks that they're getting stuck in their feet, there's dead fish, and the poor people that show up at 9 o'clock to open the gates has all this mess going on in that area.
It's one of 7 within the state, so it has a significant importance. There's 2 places, one in Newport, Fort Adams, and then Fort Wetherill and Jamestown. But those are the only 3 in the entire East Bay that we have. It's a special provisions DEM area.
Right, but I do know that when we got the grant, and let me tell you, we went through all the bells and whistles of it. They told us that as long, they made us map it out, and we got the stamp. Okay, that's fine. So a swimming area and a fishing, and they said we could definitely have one and the other and do it that way. I mean, if you want to question this, but
The Constitution permits, or the Constitution does not ensure, thank you, Joan. It does not ensure that the exercise of the right to fish, gather seaweed, leave the shore to swim, or pass along the shore will be totally unburdened by the government. So you can use your police powers to an extent.
But in the state, I thought we fought that. I thought we did.
Well, how
No,
states
that's
are-
access.
This is case law, this is the
yeah,
Rhode
this
Island
is
Constitution.
access.
Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, so it's access.
Yeah,
Pertaining
we
to
don't
what
need to
Jamie
be-
said with policing your permits, if you don't police your permits, you're
Right,
not
and
policing
that's
fires
what we-
either, so.
So the issue, and that's why these ordinances are being crafted today, is while there were rules, there was nothing to enforce the rules. So without enforcement, it's useless. I can tell you all day long, please stop doing that. Without any way to
Write me a fine,
harm you
yes.
by saying there's a fine, there's a penalty, there's a clause that you're gonna be bound by, that, you know, then that, now that this would provide the police that power. Now, I applaud all of you, because it's, you know, obviously you're very well versed in what you do, you enjoy what you do, and I can guarantee you, each and every one of you are very responsible fishermen. And it's the 2% of the people, as we know, that create us of having to create these types of ordinances.
Yeah.
This is not directed at the lion's share of the people. It's and I don't need to have a policeman down there just monitoring this stuff, because it is idiocy
How
when
do
they
we-
have other more important places to be and
How do we
and deal
get
with.
DEM to come and police us? We
Well,
get so.
It is. Yes, it is.
No, no, Adam.
I didn't say
Adam,
that.
He said, Adam.
Adam.
Adam, that's not what he said. He didn't call you idiocy.
No.
He didn't-
He didn't say, he said having a police officer down there to monitor is idiocy.
No, that's-
Having a police presence there constantly is not what we should have to do, because they have excuse me,
I'm miking your brain.
Adam, because they have other more important things to do around town. That's what he said.
That's what
If
it
all
is.
of you were the ones down there only fishing, it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, 2:30 in the morning, there's a lot going on in Tiverton. When you can't send a cop down there.
All right, please don't yell out from the audience.
So,
All right.
That's
go
all I
ahead.
got. Thank you.
thank you very much. Jason.
Can we get your name, sir?
Jason.
Jason Santos.
The police chief is part of this whole project, and he did recognize that he's gonna have to do more patrols down there. But it helps them if there's fines, because, yeah, and there's gonna be better signs, and we are gonna put the signs in Spanish and Portuguese also.
Can they do something about the ramp area, making that a trailer only at Fogland? Because I'll come down there early morning and there'll be people already there using that.
That's the, that's the state.
the spot. It is the state, but that's the spot that's in question.
But it hasn't been enforced because there'll be cars there, forward plates,
That's the state, though.
No, that's us.
People
Oh, that's
using it
us.
as a beach
Is that a
parking
town,
shed.
is that a town boat ramp?
Bypass
Yes.
it.
So you guys have the ability to enforce that boat ramp?
Yeah,
So
we
we
do.
have tried to work on that as well too, because we recognize it's a problem.
Yeah, there's really no parking for a truck with a trailer.
So
If you wanna
we
put a
have,
boat in
we
there.
have people who don't wanna pay to park at the beach, and they'll go over, and believe me, we are well aware of it, and we do address it.
But if we were to want to use that boat ramp to, say, put a boat in.
You should
there,
be able to use it.
where-
I
Where are we
agree.
gonna park the truck and the trailer though?
At night, you're talking about?
No, there is some limited parking there.
There is.
There is.
Right to the side, it's a small.
Right to the side there.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying, if we can keep cars out of there that aren't launching a boat.
That's the issue. That's
all right,
the issue.
No, I agree.
maybe signage, is there signage?
I'll look to see if.
Well, look, because we're gonna do a lot of signage, trust me.
But we agree with you.
So-
That has been an issue, we've been trying to crack down on it.
So I think we got good input,
It's very good ideas.
yes, and we weren't planning on voting on this today. I'm gonna actually continue the hearing. And we'll, go ahead, John.
Madam Chair, I just have a couple of comments after listening to all the public comment, and I think some of the comments from the council are correct. The issues that we're running into are not the people present here to testify this evening.
No.
You know, anybody who's part of a, anglers association or anything along those lines, like you obviously have respect for, nature and the environment, and I'm sure you're carry in, carry out, not leaving a mess. We get it. The 2 points that I did want to make, one, obviously, I feel like we're missing an opportunity for revenue generation at Fogland, sorry, I take it back, not at Fogland, at Grinnell's Beach. And given that Recreation has been kind enough to install the, parking, machines, and you can do it right on the app, that's an opportunity for us to very easily implement an overnight parking, component that would be very easy for police to enforce and get more access to Grinnell's Beach for fishing. So that's certainly something we should explore, whether it's through these ordinances or through a different one. The second piece is, and this has been a gripe of mine for a long time, as it relates to enforcement, DEM, they have, I think, at least three enforcement officers that live in town, and I swear to God, those guys don't do anything enforcement related. I see them, I live down by Sapowit. They love going down there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in February, and that's when you see them. But come the summertime, when there's 50 people out on the beach, they are nowhere to be found. So maybe it would behoove us to have the administrator, or maybe we could draft something to send to DEM and ask them to, I don't know, maybe do their job. Officers across the whole state. I know 3 of them live in Tiverton, so.
Wait. All right.
So that was my only point is, if we could get some support from DEM to, actually come by and check, right? I mean, we're talking about undersized fish at Grinnell's, like, yeah, no one checks. And for what it's worth, I used to work at Bridgeport Seafood. We had the guys that would come in and down behind Non-Quit Pond, and there'd be 30 people back there fishing, and he'd be in the building with the binoculars. Oh, they're taking undersized fish, but there's 37 of them and one of him, and so 0 fines were ever issued. So when it comes to enforcement, DEM is probably the most lax of them all. And that was it. That's all my comments.
I
Thank you.
still have the hearing open, the public hearing open. Anyone else? Yes. Yes, come on up. He's just talking to us from his chair. Like he's in the living room just talking away.
Jeff Gross. I was a Tiverton resident until a month and a half ago. You folks have an enforcement problem, cut and dried. Litter is a $200 fine. Beer, open containers in public is an arrestable offense. Open burning, I'm not quite sure on the town part of it, but anything to do with state land, if it was granted from the DEM, open burning is a finable offense. But hey, Democrats, let's ban and restrict people, good people, fishermen in this audience, for instance. Town of Narragansett tried this. Trudy Cox, I don't know if many of you know her, she was with Save the Bay. She took Narragansett to task, right to the First Circuit Court of Appeals. Narragansett lost bad. They were actually forced to provide open parking to the fishermen on Hazard Avenue, for instance. Charleston, we all know they lost. And I just found out this afternoon, Cranston had tried to pull what you folks are taking up, and they lost as well. You need cleanup? That's what Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts are for. I'm sure many of them could use their litter cleanup badges to take care of this problem. So don't interfere with the fishermen, because we're a force to be reckoned with. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak before I close the hearing?
You're gonna close it.
No, we're
No, I'm going to continue, but I have.
No,
I
you don't
can
close
just
it,
continue.
continue it to the next meeting.
All right, I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, come on up. Is he going to yell at me too?
Good evening, Chairman, or members of the board. 58 Merritt, my name is Brian Palakiko. I agree, I think there's an enforcement issue. I myself work for a municipality, and I can drive throughout anywhere parts of Tiverton. We have accumulation of waste and stuff like that. To put the burden on us fishermen, maybe having the gate open past 10, those members will take their trash with them because they're walking longer distances with their catch or, you know, any trash. I agree, in and out, you know. I bring a bag with me. I teach my 4-year-old son to pick up trash as we go, you know. To be able to restrict our nature, or our fruits of our nature is kind of cumbersome, and I don't believe it's something that should be done. Passes could be something that we can generate revenue for future enforcement, but, you know, to strictly restrict people on something, I think it's a no-brainer, and it's a hard no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so the committee will get back together and,
Just have one last comment.
go ahead.
I just want to reiterate, and I don't think I heard a single person up here say it, we do not want to restrict access. And some of the comments we got tonight, I think we're actually looking at expanding access with the parking, potentially with the parking pass. It's not about restricting access at all. And I also feel personally, and we'll cross that bridge at some point, I also think that parking pass overnight could help. Because again, you got those teenagers that are causing problems down in Fogland, at least there's somebody down there to call now. So, you know, I'm one of 7. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I appreciate the feedback tonight. I think you guys were great. And again, it's not about restricting access. The only piece was the abutment, but I think there's compromise to be done there.
Anyone else on the council right now? All right, well, thank you. It'll be continued to the next meeting, and hopefully it will be the next meeting. It depends on if we can get together and tweak this. All right, thank you.
Did I miss the bus for the short-term rental stuff?
That's not tonight.
Not yet?
No, not yet,
No,
no.
but it's in the future, right?
Yes, yes.
How do I gather that information so I know to attend?
We meet every second and fourth Monday, so look at the
Secretary of
town.
State's website for open meetings.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
I work for Middletown, so I would love to, because I don't know if it's a closed agenda at this point, but I think short-term rentals in Tiverton is something that should be highly against. And I don't know what you guys feel, but
All right, I'm gonna move us along here. So Denise, just before you go, that was for all 3?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Let's see, appointments and resignations, acknowledgement of resignation of Peter Vermonte from the planning board, effective 3/4/24. You have a letter from Peter, email letter from Peter.
Mr. Vice
with
President?
his regrets
We don't have a quorum at the
just
moment.
Stating that
We don't have to vote on this.
he has multiple professional scheduling conflicts and demands. He's enjoyed his service, and I agree with him that he's added value to his time on the planning board. He'll be missed. Do I have a motion to, well,
We don't have to vote. We don't have to vote, but I agree.
well, we
with you.
usually accept with, yeah.
He,
Hey, we got a quorum.
Peter, as the liaison to the planning board, Peter has been very effective on that board, and he will be missed.
So can I have a motion to accept with regrets and thank yous?
I will make a motion to accept the resignation of Peter Bramante from the planning board effective 3/4/2024 with regrets.
Second.
And thank yous.
And thank yous.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, moving on, where did I just put my agenda? Director Rogers, come on up.
Thank you, Mike.
RIDOT Municipal Road and Bridge Program for FY '25.
Yes. DPW does request to report to the town council that we have sufficient available funds to participate in the program. It is contingent upon the Rhode Island General Assembly's passage of the governor's proposed budget, allocating $5 million to the program. Tiverton's reimbursement would be $128,205 for applicable and approved projects. This program is similar to the RIDOT MRBP fiscal year '24 through fiscal year '26, which we're presently participating, but it's on a smaller scale. I'm not sure there's any vote needed for this. We did, the town council did approve the participation form and on the last meeting.
Okay,
So
so this is
the-
more informational for us?
Because it does segue into the request for the budget transfer. So we
Okay,
have.
Any questions on that
Oops.
part?
So that doesn't require a vote? Okay.
No,
I
we
thought it did.
already voted
I
this.
know, but I
Yeah.
remember the agenda meeting, there was some
Just
discussion.
really an
Okay.
update on where we are.
Okay, and then you want to do the next one?
Yep.
Yes, please. So we have enough money, but without the transfer, we have to do it in two sequences. And obviously, contractors would much rather do this, the 400,000 than do 300 and come back for 100. So we do have sufficient funds in 5540-6794, but we want to transfer from 5540-6451 so we can do it in one shot.
And we like when you do that because you're using money and it's not going to be in the next budget.
Well, we do try to use the money.
Madam Chair, can we make this move? Because it was my understanding that whatever we voted, that whatever was going to be left over in snow, we were going to roll forward into the following budget year and restrict that account.
It's paving.
Snow removal?
No, it's paving, gravel. It's not snow, salt. I don't think it's snow, but we can look into it.
Because we went through this with Director Rogers too, about making sure he loaded up on sand and salt and spend that money
Right.
now.
Right, but this is snow removal, this is different. This
that's
isn't,
not
this is
restricted.
plowing, right? This is the plowing. We
Okay.
did- Yeah, yeah, I know what you're
Does
talking
this
about.
have
You're
anything
talking-
to do with salt?
No,
No, but I'm not sure we restricted salt either.
I don't think so either. I think that we had money left at the end of last year.
Yes.
And
what
the
we
prices
did,
were supposed to
we-
go way up.
Right, Deb's right.
And we wanted to make sure that we kind of stocked up before the prices went way up.
I was, as John was mentioning, an advocate for 6451 and the sand, salt, and gravel being restricted, but it wasn't
Right, I don't think we
approved.
did it, but the thing is, it's at the end of the year, when all is said and done, and there's money left over without the transfers, then that goes into paving.
Yes.
Okay, so it's at the end of the year
Okay.
when it's all said and done, and when Denise does all her numbers, then whatever's left in that account, a percentage or whatever goes in there.
Yes.
All right.
Madam
All right,
Chair.
so I need a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the $50,000 transfer from 5540-6451 to 5540-6794, as requested by the director.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor?
Thank you.
There you go. 9C, Councilor Edwards, discussion possible vote to support resolution opposing H 7983, creating the office of State Building Commissioner. And you see the resolution in front of you.
You want to read it, or
Do you want to read it?
I don't-
It doesn't really matter.
do we need to? No, I don't think we need
Is
to.
this okay with everyone?
It's basically a carbon copy of
Yeah.
As close as I could make it.
Love It.
All right.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we vote in favor of the resolution and have you sign it and distribute it to the other municipalities and our state delegation.
Second motion.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor? 9D is going to be tabled to the next meeting, correct? Chris? Yes, okay. And then E is Administrator Cotta, discussion possible vote on National Small Business Week 2024 proclamation.
So they'd asked that we present this to the town council. I think we actually had it on last meeting, but there wasn't a provision to vote for it. So we did have the provision to adopt the proclamation.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
Motion that we approve and adopt the proclamation as it is before us.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor? And next is me. So you have in front of you the agenda for April 13th. Chris worked on this, so that's what we'll be discussing on Saturday. Now, we're gonna need a third meeting. We were thinking the next Saturday is April 20th. Is anyone around?
Negative.
I'm pretty positive I'm around.
Okay, I'm around.
Saturday morning, I typically
Yes,
am.
yes.
Ordinarily, but you're hitting it at school vacation week, so.
Yeah,
Yes, I
well,
will be around.
but it'll be we're gonna make sure the cable is here, so you can watch it, and we'll send you any changes we make or any suggestions. And then April, I have them all here, and I'll give you copies. April 27th, Tiverton Library is coming because they can't make the other meetings, and that will basically, after that, be school committee. And I've already talked to the school committee chairman to tell him tentatively that's when it's gonna be, because sometimes it's hard to schedule with them. So I'm giving them advance notice. April 27th.
27th for the
Yeah.
schools.
Question, we had submitted a
Yes.
rather lengthy list of requests, which should have been pretty straightforward, click, export, and send them over. And I don't believe we've received any of that yet.
No, this is the story.
Don't go too far afield.
I just want to make sure we're
Yeah, just-
prepared for
okay,
the
so
agenda.
I'll just tell you, Thursday I called Chris. No, I called Jerry. That's what happened on Thursday. I said, we haven't received it yet. He said he was going to talk to the superintendent. The superintendent on Friday emailed Chris, we would get it this morning. We did not get it this morning. I called Jerry at 4 o'clock this evening. He said he'll get back to me. And he was going to call the superintendent once again. I'm hoping that we get it. And I did make it perfectly clear that that was the best way that we can assess what to give them, and we need to know actuals. There was some line items that I've been concerned about, and I need to know actual spending. So, without going too far, that's what's going on. I'm
Okay.
gonna do everything I can. Chris is doing everything we can.
I just want to make sure if we're scheduling a meeting with the school committee that we're going to
Well,
we're going to have the information in order to be able to have a productive discussion.
And well in advance.
Yes.
And
I don't want to get it
also-
like the moment I walk
I
in.
also told Jerry that I feel without this information, I'll postpone the meeting.
Okay.
And they want to do it quickly. So, and I just want to say one more thing. There was 3 events in town this weekend, and it was the Liam basketball tournament, it was the dog park event, and it was the Joe Perry basketball. They were all extremely successful. A lot of people came. It was really nice to see the community together and having fun for a change. And the volunteers that put all this together, I just have to say, it was an unbelievable job they all did. And David was there with me at least at the dog park.
Yeah,
Joe
I was
Perry's.
at the Saturday event, and then Saturday night, the dog park event was a huge success.
And Sunday was a huge success. I wish you all could have seen the veteran that got the little puppy. It was quite something to see his face when he got it. So I want to thank the community for making it such a great weekend. All right,
I got a couple of announcements.
go ahead.
So on April 11th, between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m., and with the 12th reserved as a rain date, Save the Bay, Open Space, Recreation, Tiverton DPW are going to try to recreate the dunes that were destroyed during the winter storms, the plantings of the seedlings for the grasses. And anybody who wants to help, please do volunteer if you can. Again, it's April 11th on Thursday at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And also on Friday, it's reserved in case there's any heavy rains. On April 22nd,
Yes.
Valley staff will be volunteering to clean up the Fogland Beach area and the abutment area as part of the, there's a lot of cleanups being done. They have volunteered their time and energy. On May 4th, Save the Bay will also be working at the Nantucket Bridge area between 10 and 12 to clean up that area. And then my last announcement is on April 17th, next week, Dave Robert has told me that after consultation with the reval team, that the assessment notices will be mailed out next week on the 17th. Please do not apply the current tax rate to your valuation, because it is, there is going to be significant changes. The tax rate will get adjusted. We can only raise the levy that we have today based on what that levy is. So, don't panic. Look at the number, look at it to see if you think that that's what people have been selling around your area. But that's, we will get to a different tax rate altogether as we go through the budgetary process. So I know that people are going to panic. The phone's going to be ringing off the hook next week. It is what it is. But, John.
Would it be better, if you were curious, if you took your current tax bill and divided it into your new valuation? That would give you whatever the mill rate would be, hypothetically, a rough idea as to what that tax rate would be.
I wouldn't do that because if everybody's, let's say if everybody's tax evaluation went up 50%, right?
Assuming they're all the same,
Assuming they're all the same,
which they are. I know they're not.
we'd be
but-
raising twice the amount of revenue. And it would just shock people that that's
Well-
not how it works.
Well, no, so like as an example, right, let's say I have a house that's valued at, $400,000 and I pay $5,000 a year in taxes at the 1478 or whatever we are at for a mill rate. If I just took the 5,000 and divided it into the valuation of the house, that would tell me what the mill rate is. So rather than use the current tax rate and come up with some astronomical number because your valuation went up, it's whatever the mill rate's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's just gonna,
Pay no attention if you're listening at home. I'm overcomplicating all of this. But I'll figure it out.
establishing a new
You'll figure
valuation
it out.
does not necessarily mean that that's the value we're gonna apply the current tax rate to. That's all I'm trying to get out there.
Got it.
fast.
I'm gonna get that phone call. What was John saying? I got my new tax, yeah.
What's the mill rate? Is that something different? Is that lower than what we pay?
Yes,
Okay.
it's all different.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session. Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law, 4246582, collective bargaining, update, IAFF, Local 1703 negotiations. Assistant Town Solicitor, Romano, Rhode Island, JL 42465A, Town of Tiverton, V, Longplex and Tiverton Zoning Board of Appeals, NC 2023-0036 litigation update, and Assistant Town Solicitor Romano, Rhode Island General Law 42465A2 litigation, Highland Ridge Farm LLC v. Town of Tiverton et al. NC 2023-0260 update.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right. We're gonna go in executive.